Why is conflict important in a gay man's life? I believe that conflict is a very important part in everybody's life. But why is it even more important in a gay man's life? It really boils down to one thing: shame. So many of us, through the presence of discrimination, negative messages in the media, through some of the religious organizations and government officials, we are exposed to a lot of negativity out there. And that energy is stored in our mind, our unconscious mind. Also, some research shows that a lot of this negative energy, that shame and that trauma, is stored in our bodies. So we have to have a way to release it into the open. You can imagine that a lightning hits you, and so all of a sudden you've got this emotion, you've got this energy and this emotion inside of you, and you now have to discharge it. There has to be a certain mechanism so that you discharge that energy. And shame and negativity from the straight world, from the outside world, is a similar kind of energy that's being brought and kind of hits you on a regular basis. So there's this negativity that's kind of cooking inside of us unconsciously. Sometimes we're not even aware that it's there. And so conflict in this sense is going to allow you to purge it, to express it. And yes, it's going to be irrational. Sometimes it's going to be in a form of judgment, in a form of maybe even a condescending conversation. But conflict from that particular, in that particular expression, even though it may be negative, it serves a purpose. Now, the skill and the mastery is about still having a certain conflict, but not allowing it to hurt other people. In fact, allowing that conflict to bring to the surface your shadow, to bring to the surface your self-esteem level, so that you can see through conflict how the shame, how the discrimination has really took you down in ways that you haven't even noticed over the course of many years, sometimes decades, depending on how old you are. So conflict is the window to your levels of shame, to your levels of self-esteem, and also to your standard of communication. Now let's take an example of two people that are in love with one another, two men that are in love. They live together. One wants to see a movie, another one wants to read a book. Let's say there's conflict and one ends up going to the movie theater, another one ends up sitting at home reading a book. What happens after the conflict is very important. When the person that stayed at home and decided to read a book finally lets go of his ego, he becomes vulnerable and then approaches his lover and say, "Hey, listen, I know you wanted to see a movie. I should have gone with you to see the movie. It's really not about the movie. It's about us being together. I made a mistake. I apologize. I still love you." That's vulnerability. That's letting go of ego. And if you don't have conflict, you don't have opportunity to see that. Therefore, the other partner would have never noticed that, yes, you care about him so much so that you're willing to let go of your stubbornness, of your own boxed-in environment. And that moment where he notices that vulnerability, when he notices that you care about him, sets the foundation for security and safety in that relationship for many, many years to come. So in the absence of conflict, these signals are absent. These moments when people test one another's commitment levels and loyalty levels are absent. And so conflict in that sense is also very important. Conflict is also important because in the absence of conflict, we know that people are almost dead. They're not alive. Think about it this way. We live on this earth for what? Maybe 90 years? If you don't try different things in life, if you don't open yourself up to go out of your comfort zone and take risks, then you're not going to live a full, open, and adventurous kind of life. But here's the thing about that. Whenever you're going to do that kind of life, you will be causing conflict because you're going to be experimenting, taking risks. You're going to be stepping on some people's toes because you're going to be aggressively pursuing your extraordinary ideas, your dream, and your vision. So conflict will happen when you are on your vision, living your purpose, living your goals, because conflict is part of everything new, everything that is part of an experiment, everything that when there's some risk, conflict is always waiting to happen somewhere. It's just a question of how you're going to handle it. It's a question of your ideas about it that either will make conflict something that is no big deal, or something that sometimes you look forward to, or something that you completely shy away from, and therefore you're stopping yourself from really living your life. And so I really encourage everybody who is conflict averse, who is running away from conflict, to really consider the big price that you pay for it. Not only in your personal relationships, but also in your life, in your outlook at life. That's the big picture. So from now on, look at conflict as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity for transformation. The number one step I can ask you to do to make it easier for yourself is to determine your boundaries. What are some of the values that you believe in, things that are very important to you that you're not going to allow yourself and others to cross? And that's how you set the boundaries, so that when you enter into a conflict situation, you know what to protect. Some people don't like conflict because they're actually ambiguous about their identity, ambiguous about what they want in life. But once you're clear about what you want and who you are, and then once you're connected to assertive communication, then it doesn't matter where you go, because you've got a toolkit with you. You've got a tool to protect yourself. Therefore, conflict is just a part of conversation. And one day, when you try it, another day you try again, and the fifth day you try again, all of a sudden you will see that conflict is just a normal type of interaction of everyday life, and it won't impact you negatively anymore. So I hope that from now on that you have a different perspective at conflict. Conflict is actually a wonderful thing when done properly, and conflict is something that you also can be looking forward to, because that's how you can really get to know who the other person is. There's a saying, push somebody against a corner and you will really find out who they are. And conflict on some level does that to people. So if you are dating somebody brand new, cause a little bit of tension, some conflict, and you'll see whether he has what it takes to be a lover, whether he has what it takes to be a loyal and long-term friend. So conflict has so many different benefits that it plays in our lives that you definitely need to embrace it. So I hope that this has been helpful for you. I look forward to sharing with you more in other videos. And until then, go out there, think big, don't be afraid of conflict, stay present, and be a leader in your life today.